Michael Daughtry with Devil. You know what, man? I really, really like the song. And the one thing we talked about briefly before we got you on air here, and I won't go too deeply into it because I'm sure that's part of no one's questions. But we were talking about time signatures.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch in there, and man, your vocals were fantastic. So, Nolan, the floor is yours, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love your material, Michael. It's so impressive on so many different levels. As Brian mentioned, your changes and your use of different time signatures. I love some of the chord shapes you're using. They sound really unique and fresh to my ears. You want to talk a little bit about that in your songwriting process?
Yes, absolutely. That song particularly had sort of come from several song ideas that I sort of fused together, I guess in a mad scientist kind of way. There was one point when I was putting this together where I was like, okay, this is either gonna like really fall flat on his face or have a unique kind of vibe to it. So I'm hoping that the latter happened. I hope, and you know, I feel like this song. This is maybe one of those songs that is not for everyone, you know, because it is a little more sophisticated of a time signature, and the chord progressions are, you know, but at the same time, if you just sort of let go, kind of, you know, I feel like that the song can hit you in that way too, because it's in essence, it's a rock song. I mean, you know, it's very much about someone who is like from your past, who you just want to kind of be like, okay, not only do I need to get rid of that, but I need to like focus on, you know, what's the good that's in front of me. And so lyrically, you know, that a lot of the time signatures, I feel like, support, you know, that lyrical content that's behind it, because there's a range of emotion that goes in the song, but ultimately it's a happy song. I mean, so it kind of ends on a little bit of a sing along kind of vibe at the end. So that's basically, you know, where the song came from. It was fused together, if you will, and so yeah, I feel like it's one of my favorite songs personally, and we love to do it live. I mean, we usually start off our set with that one because that just brings people in, you know, or the ones that we want to bring in. I mean, the other ones, you know, let them listen to their Bieber, you know. So,
Nolan, you got any more questions? Or is that good?
Yeah, actually. I'm really fascinated by your singing style as well. I hear almost a Middle Eastern influence in some of those runs you do.
Yeah.
Could you talk about your influences vocally?
Well, I don't specifically have with that. When I was at Berkeley, I took a world music class, and we studied a little bit about Middle Eastern and Indian sort of influences, and before then I had never heard really, and well, I didn't know what an odd time signature was, or a time signature that's not your basic 4/4. So with all that coming together, I sort of would like listen to, you know, some of the Indian music that is out there, and I don't have, like I say, no specific artists, but just the genres themselves. But also, I mean, well, at the time, I mean, I have some pretty, you know, diverse influences of vocalists that I like. I mean, I like David Gray a lot. I like Doug Pinnick from King's X. I've always tried to sound like that guy. He's just a phenomenal vocalist. And but I used to love the vocal styles of like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I like sort of vocal type driven stuff. So yeah, but my influences are kind of, you know, I'm really into singing more than, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've never been a good like Dave Grohl type like screamer. I wish I were. I mean, because he definitely has his thing. And and Kurt Cobain, of course, that sort of gruff sound,
Right.
But I sort of went in a different direction because years ago, a vocal guy told me that I had a clear voice with a little bit of like resonance and roughness, undertone.
Right.
Whereas some people have a very rough voice, but then they can sing really clear, like Hetfield,
Right.
Or
Chris Cornell.
Exactly.
Yep.
Cornell is a great example, and he's someone, that it's like I can try and sound like him a little bit, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's like you just have to sing like the way that you sing,
right?
And then it just sort of comes, because then people tell me I've heard people say that I sound like this person, that person. I hear a lot of influences, and that never bothers me unless they are. Unless they don't like the person they're saying that
right.
I sound like, that's when I get a little offended. But if they say I sound like, whoever, and,
right.
and if it's someone they like and listen to, then that's a good, I'll take it as a compliment,
I just have
I like most stuff. I like most music. I mean, there's very little. If it's a genuine feel, then I like it. So
you know what, I'm not quite the same way. More or less for me is, I may not like the music, but I respect the artist.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, obviously you can't like everything, but that's just the way I kind of work. If I don't like the music, if I can respect the artist, then that's fine. I can respect what they're doing, how the production, the arrangement, the whole thing. But I may not like the music. The other thing is too is quick sidetrack here with Chris Cornell. I remember the first time I heard him speak, and I couldn't believe a guy with such a deep voice could hit those notes.
True.
Because I mean, I grew up born in '79, so kind of the grunge was like my high school years, right?
Yeah.
And the first Soundgarden album I heard before I went backwards was Bad Motorfinger.
Oh,
and then went back, listened to Louder Than Love and Ultra Mega OK, which actually I was just talking about with Nolan off air before we started, because that led into our time signatures with your various time signatures in this song. We talked about Matt Cameron's offbeat drumming, and I said, well, check out the song Gun Off the Louder Than Love, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So there's my quick sidetrack. Nolan?
Catherine.
Me without the voice. Well, actually, as usual, this interview is going so well. You've already answered almost all my questions, and I apologize. I have laryngitis tonight, but I just have to kind of go back to what you were saying about with the mixed meters, and I have to agree that it's actually supporting what you've done with your lyrics, because the meter changes are not obvious, really. I mean, we were listening to it and we went, oh my gosh, listen to what he's doing. So I think it's so smooth that even if people aren't accustomed to hearing that, it's not going to be jarring to them because it's just so natural. And I would say the same thing about your vocal delivery. I mean, I don't think you sound like anybody. You sound like you. And, you're absolutely the best vehicle for your music. So it's a great combination.
Well, that is very, I think that's a really good point about, you can hear a lot of, and I hate to say it, but some of the, progressive music and some of the jam band stuff that can sometimes these meters will just like hit you over the head like a hammer. And like, look at this, listen to this 13/5 time signature. To me, it's more effective when it sort of, like you guys were saying, it's sort of like, it's organic and it just sort of kind of comes at you, subtly, like in a subtle way.
Right.
And that's what the Beatles did. I mean, when the Beatles would change a signal, and Soundgarden, of course, they're a huge influence of mine. They knew how to write a song, and if different sections had the different meters, it wasn't just like, boom, there it is, unless they were making a point
right.
lyrically. And so I feel like, you really need to, songwriters, if there are people out there wanting to do this, they need to keep in mind that the lyrics and the music need to complement each other as much as possible, because that's what makes it sort of like I don't know, transcendental. I mean, if that's a word you want to use, like it can really just take you to another place.
Fair enough. So we're going to get to another song here in just one moment. It's another sidetrack. I just remembered this and talk very, very briefly. I'll probably be brief. And because earlier today on Facebook, Nolan posted, I'm not going to go into his whole thing, but he posted Black Hole Sun, which is from Soundgarden's album Super Unknown. Now, when that came out, my brother got the book, pretty much the notebook for that album, and we sat down and tried to learn it, and oh my God, was that one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Just because it was so helpful to have a tuner, because their tuning was all over the place, and I couldn't believe it, especially for the song 4th of July. I mean, my low E was barely almost like hanging off my guitar, it was so low. So it was a lot of fun, but holy crap, I'm not going to say any more profanities because but it was a great time, but yeah, it was worth it. But oh my God, that was another kind of hair ripper, right? So without further ado, we're going to get into our next song off this compilation. The song is by Logan, and the song is called She Likes Me. Dig this.
I've been passing through so many estates so high, but deep inside I am always the same old guy. I never thought I could ever cross a girl like her. She is unlike all the other ones that don't understand me. Yeah, here she comes, showing up at my door. She makes me feel like I never did before. She got love for someone like me. She loves me, someone like me. She likes me, yeah, someone like me. She's the one who would never tell me a lie. She got soul like a yellow butterfly. They made me unconscious for a very long time. But she knows I'll put back the sweet on the line. Yeah, here she comes, showing up at my door. She makes me feel like I never did before. She got love for someone like me. She loves me, yeah, someone like me. She likes me, someone like me. She loves me, yeah, someone like me. She likes me.